is up, my people? Welcome back to the channel for another album review. I'm your boy Naseem the Dream. It's been a minute. It's about a little bit over a week, as you know, that I have been gone so I can go celebrate this year's Bonnaroo Music Festival in Manchester, Tennessee. Very, very well worth the wait. It was such a good time last weekend. I met such great people. It was just a great year to celebrate. Definitely one of the best years, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys next week on my Bonnaroo experience. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell as well to always keep notified on my newest content when that video comes out and any more videos that I proceed to come out with later in the week. To kick off my return, I would like to start off with this return album from the one, the only Logic's Vinyl Days. Ladies and gentlemen, it is here, the Out of Retirement Return LP from the 32-year-old Maryland rapper, producer, Bobby Tarantino himself, Logic. This marks his 7th studio album coming right out of Def Jam Records following the 3rd and final sequel to the Bobby Tarantino trilogy. Knowing that this release would lead to Logic going into retirement so he could focus on being a father was unfortunately disappointing due to the hope that he would at least put us off with a bang. Because if I'm going to be brief about this sequel, it easily fits as the least appealing tape out of the whole trilogy in my opinion. And then with his previous actual last full-length LP, No Pressure, this is yet another project that I just did not find to have the full potential that Logic has proven that he's capable of ever since his start in 2014. But I will admit that I did really find it hard to believe that Logic would actually step away forever from never making another song or a project again, just to imagine him stepping away from the game for this long, especially at his age, just doesn't really make sense to me. But thankfully, Logic has returned with a brand new 7th record with lots and lots of excitement swirling around the gates based off with the singles. Beginning with the singles off of this record, I actually really liked nearly all of them. I thought they were all pretty stupid litty. The track Bleed, it features some of the best samples out of the bunch and just hits with a powerful punch into the mix. And then for the track Therapy Music, bringing on singer-rapper Russ, was also leaving me at a first impression that I was left in the gray area solely because I wanted to see where this track would be left off in the record. And overall, I think this is a decent hip-hop track delivered from both Russ and Logic with good perspectives and aspects on mental health. Then we get to the stoner single Breath Control featuring Wiz Khalifa that follows a much more mellow and slowed down hip-hop beat that of course sets the mood for a euphoric experience. I think I might have mentioned this on my Singles of the Week video when this track first released. I really wasn't too fond of the singing on the sample loops, and as a whole the switch up beats for me were just alright. But one of my favorite cuts onto the record has to come from the 25th place track on here, that is of course Orville, featuring one of the most underrated combos in all of hip-hop, Blu and Exile. There is just overall great delivery from both of these performers. The beat and sampling just sounds so fresh, as well as the arrangement of this track is placed fairly well in my opinion. What is also very interesting about this record, and that a lot of fans will recognize as fan service, with a lot of traditional styles of what Logic has really been going about with his project arrangements with these telephone skits. The second we hit the play button, already in comes a PSA narrated by the one and only Morgan Freeman that goes on about Logic is the go at hip-hop, hyping us already with the next track Tetris. And I also really love the times that Logic goes on into some Star Wars references on here, like with the recording from J.J. Abrams, as well as the track Rouge One, but for the most part doesn't really go about into some Star Wars lore, but indeed it's still a sick beat elevating some heavy Public Enemy influences, and that's pretty cool about it. There's also a skit from baseball all-star New York Yankee Aaron Judge is calling Logic about coming through for the Barclays with some beats. There's also a voice recording, actually multiple voice recordings, from actor Tony Revolori, best known from his roles in the Grand Budapest Hotel, as well as the brand new Spider-Man trilogy. This is probably one of the funniest ones just because it goes about with Tony being like, kind of like going off this like hilarious stalker skit. I think it's pretty funny in my opinion. As well as actress Lena from Ready Player One, as well as the Disney Pixar movie Onward. From a piece of each of these, there's just really funny moments onto these skits. NEMS is also one of the skits on here. Rapper NEMS is going about Logic's head, just roasting the shit out of him. And there's even the track Nardwuar that actually features a sample recorded by Nardwuar, made especially in particular for this track. That also follows a solo verse from Doc D, which yeah, I did enjoy, but I didn't really see the point of just making this on a minute 20 track with just that, and a very short verse from Doc D, which was pretty good in my opinion. I think this song in particular would have reached more full potential if it actually became a full track, maybe with a Logic verse, and maybe with Doc D on the chorus or something like that. And of course, we got the melon himself, Anthony Fantano, going about with nerding out on a voice recording, of course. Regarding more about the song material itself onto this project, Logic presents a lot of influences and nostalgia by bringing on some more 90s boom bap styles, while tagging along some of hip-hop's best in its current era, with the ones who really paved the way along in the 90s. I'm absolutely loving the third track placed on here, Lifetime, who brings on the contemporary MC Action Bronson, who I think both absolutely crushed it, might I mention. Logic just in your face about the struggles and real events into the hood, finally making out of there, achieving success, while Bron is just going about a silly bar to bar in the most sonically fitting flow on this particular track. You really see the same notion carrying on for most of the record, as well as the track Decades pulls onto the notion of greed and its egotistical effect on people. I also caught a lot of J. Cole feels in particular on the song based on the style with the singing on the chorus, then goes and blows with the lyrics on verse to verse, or at least that's what came to mind. On the 7th track Quasi, Logic pleads in appreciation and praise to one of hip-hop's most legendary producers in existence, Madlib, while also begging on his knees in hope that Madlib returns his alter ego Quasimodo one day will make a return. One of the funny jokes on here that I really love on LaDonda, how Logic starts to go about messing around with NeedleDrop's Anthony Fantano, and how he just jokes about his plaid shirts and bald spots, while also just stating about how his negative reviews actually had Logic view Anthony in a very negative way at a certain point, even telling us that he wanted to murder him. I'ma stab that bald head of yours, bitch. But then also shares how eventually both of them became really cool and even good friends in the matter. And I also really love on this track on how this shared phone call between him and Anthony just goes about, with Anthony just sharing about, my opinion is just my opinion, it never matters no matter what. You just built yourself a huge legacy with all your audience, with everything your fans done for you. It doesn't matter what I say. I always didn't know this about Anthony Fantano, but this is just something that I really loved about this particular track. More nostalgia pours in from the 90s from one of hip-hop's most iconic hip-hop group, Wu-Tang Clan's RZA. I think this track manifests that same aura that Wu-Tang Clan was best known for in the 90s, but I really feel like I was just underwhelmed with the verses on here, unfortunately. There's even some moments on here where Logic brings on some hidden gem guest performances, such as rapper AZ, and if you don't know, die-hard rap fans loved AZ in the 90s. There's just an unlimited variety of samples that just feel so vintage on here, the instrumentation that coats the song writing into contrast, complementing these booming, hard-hitting drum lines that are just right on the money. Even though a lot of these songs singularly are very good, it is hard not to notice that there is a ratio from hot tracks to background noise at a certain point. So the beginning and the end of this record are just great to me. I really love how the track Vinyl Days is on the end towards the finish of this album. And then on the track I Guess I Love It featuring The Game has a great 3-parter chapter that also gives 3 different beats on verse to verse for Game and for Logic, and then both of them together on harmony. And I also do really like this closer that's just a rolling 10-minute credit Sayonara that pretty much just consists of Logic spitting and showing love to all the people at Def Jam that really helped him out through his life, and also calling out the suits in Def Jam that he doesn't fuck with. Logic showing so much noble appreciation to those people that really helped him out on the label that I really do like on here. As a finish, it's already concludes something that everyone already knew, that knew Logic. He really appreciates the art of hip-hop, the art of rap. And I love that about this record. I had a good time playing it. It seems like it was going to be way harder to get through these songs for the most part. It was this track actually that I thought I'd have the worst time with just because of its length, but it was actually pretty easy to keep up with just because this beat is just so damn good. It's hard not to rock with. But with all the good things that this record has going for it, to remember to pull out singularly as a track, going through this project front to back can become more tiring than I expected. Towards the middle into this mesh, it just feels like it just becomes this endless cycle of a fire boom bap track, hot bars, then a skit, then another fire boom bap track, bars, skit, and then at a certain point where it just feels like it's too long. Like a good 20-minute cut of this record, I think would have really gave this more balance. And I also feel like more variance to the album. But instead just becomes more and more diluted with the tracks that just sounds like the previous play. That is probably the largest thing that I think is holding back this record, is just how repetitive it feels. The quality is always there, but the repetition is just a little bit too much. It's a bit too overbearing too early on. But overall, I think this is a great return for Logic. This is just a great demonstration of his skill set. Lots of funny, great moments on here from Logic, and of course the guest performances here as well. It's also very easily digestible as a concept. It's not hard to understand at all, and it just combines into an exceptional rap record, and I think it's cool. I'm gonna give Logic's Vinyl Days a 78%. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed, go and like, share, comment down below, and if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. Down in the description, you see all the separate tracklist ratings I have from the album, more videos, and also the links to my social media accounts so you can keep up with me on the daily, and I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Bonnaroo!